It's almost as if the politicians in Washington, D.C., who are supposedly on the same side as I am on the issues, are trying to give me high blood pressure. The Democrats control the presidency. We have President Joe Biden. We have Vice President Kamala Harris. The U.S. House of Representatives, the Democrats have been in control of for the last couple of years. They're still in control of the U.S. House. By a very razor thin margin, the Democrats control the U.S. Senate with Vice President Kamala Harris as the tiebreaker. Technically, the Democratic Party is the governing party in the United States right now. And it's amazing that when the Democrats, every time they become the governing party and it's all on their lap and it's all right there for them to govern the way they need to govern, they cower and they're too scared to govern and do what's right for the American people. Seen it happen many times, and I'm seeing it again. I'm seeing this again. And I mean, it's almost as if Democrats want Republicans to take over again in 2 years. And of course they would, because, if they're the minority party, the leadership can fundraise and talk about those big, nasty, evil, heartless, cruel Republicans and get their base all, riled up and everything. And accomplish nothing other than make some party leaders and party hacks on the top fat and wealthy. That's what it comes down to. So, and here's the thing, you know, um, the party kind of more or less promised to go bold and with juxtaposition what Joe Biden said last year that there'll be no fundamental changes. Unfortunately, seems like Joe Biden is the one that's telling the truth. Unfortunately, um, the party promised bold. Now I know that not everybody is on board with the Green New Deal, but there's enough of a movement that I think people are friendly to the idea of a Green New Deal, or at least some kind of a limited Green New Deal. Um, Student debt forgiveness or free college being talked about. No Green New Deal, no student debt relief, forgiveness, and seemingly no free college. Stimulus checks. Oh, we promised $2,000 if you get those two guys down in Georgia elected, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. When they get elected, we're going to make sure that every American gets $2,000. Now, I can overlook the fact that $600 went to all of us already, and they're going to make it $1,400. I can overlook that, but they were means testing it, and they were nitpicking it, and they claimed they wanted to have this done bipartisanly in a bipartisan manner. It seems like they were doing everything they could to weasel their way out of this. And then the healthcare. Yeah, I know. They're going to sit there and talk about the public option till we're blue in the face and we're supposed to be happy. Oh, at least they're talking about the public option. At least they're talking about lowering the Medicare age requirement down to 60 when Hillary Clinton said 55. Hillary Clinton's plan 4 years ago, back in 2016, was a better plan than Joe Biden's plan. How sad. They went to the right on healthcare reform. Can't even do forced to vote. It was a perfect opportunity in the U.S. House. They needed to go and make Nancy Pelosi sweat in the House. Nope. The squad just roll over and play dead. And scared that big old Nancy Pelosi was going to go and punish them. Well, AOC had her committee's assignments denied to her. Frickin' Nancy Pelosi. And now the $15 an hour minimum wage. That sounded like that was going to be. I even thought back in the fall that we might have a good chance of having a $15 hour minimum wage pass. Didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. The Senate battle going on with Neera Tanden, and what a what an upside down world we live in, because we having progressive defending Neera Tanden and Republicans and a fairly despicable Democrat like Joe Manchin finding her problematic. The thing is that they were right. She is problematic, but she's problematic for reasons that the Republicans and Joe Manchin would be okay with her policy wise. They hate her for the wrong reasons. And then you got Justice Democrats, and you got the Young Turks, and you got progressives in the House, and they don't vote for the confirmation, but on record as saying, oh, Neera Tanden, she's an ally. I mean, she's not. She's connected with Hillary Clinton. I don't want to go into Neera Tanden. I'm grateful that she's not going to be the director of OBM. I am grateful. And I don't see how anybody could be worse replacing her. Unfortunately, she's in the Biden administration. So you had a COVID relief bill, $1.9 trillion. It's a mixed bag on how effective it's going to be. And there's some good things in there, what have you. But we needed a $15 hour minimum wage added to it. And Bernie Sanders tried. He tried to add the $15 an hour minimum wage, and he's known as an amendment king. And he tried doing that, and it didn't help. It didn't work. And then there was the vote for the minimum wage itself. 7 Democrats and 1 independent voted no. Now, the one Democrat, and I am mad at all the Democrats and that 1 independent that didn't vote for it. I'll name names. I will name some names right now. I'm going to name. We know Joe Manchin of West Virginia voted against it. Not surprised. Tom Carper and Chris Coons of Delaware, corporate Democrats, just like Joe Manchin, voted no. Maggie Hassan and Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire voted no. John Tester of Montana voted no. Independent Senator Angus King of Maine voted no. He caucuses with the Democrats. Kristen Gillibrand of Arizona also voted no. I am mad at every one of them for voting with the Republicans. But right now, I am especially angry with Krysten Sinema. Let me tell you about Krysten Sinema. Krysten Sinema is a U.S. Senator from Arizona. Arizona's kind of turning blue lately. It's been happening lately. Some red states have been turning purplish and kind of leaning toward blue. I'm living in North Carolina. We're kind of considered a purple state. We're still red, but next door Virginia has turned blue in the last several years. And I would argue that in some ways Virginia was more conservative politically than North Carolina. Can you believe that? Well, down over there in the Southwest, Arizona was a reliably Republican state. And all of a sudden, there's kind of a turnaround and it's been leaning blue. Should be good news, right? Well, when you got senators like Krysten Sinema, Why the hell will you need Republican senators around? I mean, really, I'll go as far as say with Democrats like Kristen Sinema, who needs Ted Cruz? Who needs Tom Cotton? Let me tell you about her. She started out in the Green Party in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Around 2004, she decided to become a Democrat. Obviously, if you're in the Green Party, one can assume you have a broad-based left-wing ideology. Um, she was she got elected in 2018 for the U.S. Senate, and she became the first open bisexual and the first secularist or atheist to be elected. One would think that would be progressive, right? Not at all. Let me tell you what she did. She voted against that minimum wage increase. She brought cake to the Senate chamber, you know, let them eat cake, Maria Antoinette. And then she did her little sassy dance, sashaying herself around, trying to be stylish like AOC. Not degrading AOC. AOC got it going on. She's got it going on politically. She's got it going on policy. Talking about AOC from New York, Congresswoman AOC. But you got this lady down in Arizona sashaying herself around, dressed very trendy, kind of, arty, a little on the hipster side, doing her little prance and dance and voting no against the minimum wage increase of $15 an hour. That's an insult to the people who are suffering in this country, the poor and the barely middle class. And it pissed off many progressives, many leftists. And so some of her staff members decided to go and play the sexism card, the identity politics card, and claim that, oh, sexism, you got a problem with a woman dancing around? I don't have a problem with a woman dancing around on March 7th, 2021, tomorrow being International Women's Day. I don't have a problem with Krysten Sinema dancing around. What I had a problem with is she voted no on raising the wages to $15 an hour. We have people suffering from income inequality. We have wages that have not gone up since Dumbo George W. Bush back in 2007 when they raised the minimum wage to $7.25 an hour. And she goes around sashaying and dancing and voting no. That's kind of a fuck you to the American people who are in poverty or the working class and the barely middle class. She should be ashamed of herself. And let me say this. To Krysten Sinema, to Joe Manchin, Tom Carper, Maggie Hassan, Jean Shaheen, John Tester, Chris Coons, and Angus King. I hope every one of y'all get primaried. I mean, I hope that there will be some progressives out there that was going to go and piss in your Wheaties and challenge you in the primaries to get you out of there. You're not needed. If you're going to be in the Senate, go to the Republican Party. If you're going to, and here's the thing, if as a leftist, if I say this, if we're going to go and use the Democratic Party as a vehicle for being the economic instrument for social and transformative change for the working class, you can't have people like Krysten Sinema and Joe Manchin around. Kyle Kalinske said that what is needed, it is a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. The playing nice with Nancy Pelosi and playing nice with Chuck Schumer don't cut it. You got to look at these people as your enemy, and you got to go in there and you got to do a hostile takeover. You got to make life hell for these corporatists in the Democratic Party. You got to make them sorry that they have to deal with people like us on the left. We have people suffering in this country. It's bad enough we don't have Medicare for all. And that's another thing about Krysten Sinema. She opposes Medicare for all. You're a Democrat and you oppose Medicare for all? That's an extreme position. They try to make it sound like, oh, you support Medicare for all. You're on the far left. So far left? No. Krysten Sinema is to the right of Prime Minister Boris Johnson in Great Britain, who said his life got saved by socialized medicine, the National Health Service in Great Britain. When you have British Tories, they are to the left of Democrats on the question of health care. It's something wrong with us as a society. And so, if you're on the left and you want to preserve the Democratic Party and get in touch with your New Deal roots and chase these corporatists out of the Democratic Party, these predators that Reaganized the Democratic Party in the 1980s and 1990s and still holding it hostage, you need to go and push these people out of the Democratic Party and turn the Democratic Party into a Labor Party. And if you can't turn the Democratic Party into a Labor Party, then it's time for the left to say to the Democrats, hey, you're just going to have to get used to Republicans taking over. We're going to walk out and you are going to be defeated and you're going to be in the political wilderness because you don't have us around to be your foot soldiers. We need a Labor Party in this country. I will argue that we need an independent Labor Party. Whether it's the Green Party, whether it's the Movement for a People's Party, whether it's a reconstructed old Socialist Party of America of Eugene Debs and Norman Thomas, or if I had it my way, we'd just have a Labor Party, an independent Labor Party, modeled after the Labor Party of Great Britain and Ireland and the New Democratic Party of Canada. That's what we need. And until that day comes, I don't know what the hell. But, Krysten Sinema, you're a terrible person just for what you did the other day. You're a terrible person. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were not in full agreement, comment anyway. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you that if you're passionate about something, create a platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. Hit that subscribe button, that notification bell to keep up to date with my, worldview. And until next time, I am American social democracy, peace, and class struggle yesterday, today, tomorrow, until we achieve full economic and social justice for all.